today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now.
Welcome back, everybody. This is week 12 of Sam's League, the podcast. It's your host, Sam, with Jack, and special guest this week, John Schmidt. Guys, say hello.
Hello. Hey, Sam's League.
John, great to have you on, especially coming off of one of my only victories of the year over you, so that's always good. Getting that division team record tied back up, but no, I'm kidding. You've done much better than I have this year. But say hello to the league, talk your shit, and let's hear it.
Well, if you haven't heard, I am currently packing my bags to move across the pond after this poor fantasy display I had to put on this year. Losing the same this past weekend pretty much solidified the fact that this is going to be my worst year to enter in the league. I haven't been as bad as some Bernie's kids, but you know, that's okay. That's all right. We're all hanging in. Hopefully McNichol can rise strong for us and not crumble, but Coochie's is on a downturn at the worst time, so.
Yeah, he's lost 2 or 3 of his last few?
So it's not looking too hot for us goons right now, but we're still in the hunt, and that's all that matters.
That's it. Yeah, Brennan was 5-3. He's now 5-6, firmly looking outside in from the playoff race. But yeah, so let's get into what happened last week, though. 3 of the top 4 teams actually lost. The only reason one of them didn't lose was because they were playing the team that scored the worst points in the league. Obviously, I'm talking about Chris and Demps. Chris is now sitting in first place because he scored the second fewest points on the week last week, and he was playing Dempsey. But with the win, and Jack and Alex and everyone else losing, and I don't know what happened, Jack, Chris, and Alex have all clinched the playoffs, and the top 5 are as follows. Goes Chris, Jack, Alex, Dempsey, and then Cole, sitting at 6-5. Dempsey's at 7-4. There's a 4-way tie for 6th place right now. Goes Joe Fallon, Billy, Hoochie Coochies, and then Dick Picks following up. Now, as we said last week, John, your points for isn't great. I think Derek Henney's got 1131 and Gruesome Twosome's at 1124, so they're only 7 away. And then Hoochie Coochies is at 1079, which is he's 50 off, but that's not impossible to make up in 2 weeks as long as he can right the ship. So yeah, it's coming down the final wire here for the last place in the playoffs. Who gets that sneak right in there?
So they're pretty much telling me I'm fucked then.
You need 2 wins, John. You need 2 wins. Luckily,
I need a lot of people to lose and score like 60 points, and then me to put on somehow like 150 for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, but thankfully, who do you have? You have Buck this week, who is he was in 11th place for a while, but now he's in 10th, even though you did just lose to 12. And then week 13, you have Gruesome Twosome, who's also fighting for a playoff spot. So, not the easiest road, but not doable.
Nah, just gotta keep winning. That's all I can worry about.
That's it.
I gotta find a way to win first, actually.
just keep your head above water, John. You'll be okay. I think me, you, and Bren have officially declared ourselves the worst division, with us currently in places 9, 10, and 12. Jack, your division has
Christ.
3 playoff teams right now between you, Cole, and Joe Fallon. And then it's kind of a mixed bag otherwise. So, but last place status update. Currently, Team Pup and Suds is ahead of Team Skinny Fat by only 13 points. I do have the head-to-head tiebreaker. Just a fun fact for everybody else. And then we have a matchup, myself and Buck, on week 13. So this last place, if Dan loses out and one of us loses going forward, miraculously gets a win going forward, this last place is going to heat up very much so. Gruesome Twosome still has the hardest schedule. He avoids another high score against by actually scoring the most points himself this week. So good job, Bill. Way to take down Alex, who I believe had second most points last week, which is hilarious that the 2 worst scorers played each other and the 2 highest scorers played each other. So everyone else was just crap in between. And then Dempsey moves into the best defense of the year, and he holds that by 17 points to Dan. So congrats to Demps on barely holding on to this winning streak and getting into the playoffs. But let's get into the best things we saw last week. John, if you got one, you can go first. If not, I have something.
I'm going to have to say the best thing I saw is that Sausage Dip came up against Team PNS with a big win.
Oh.
Behind Jimmy G's 30 points, which you got to love, and a classic 10 points from Will Lutz to save the day.
What did that guy do? Yeah, no, that was a big-time win for Sausage Dip right there. Feels like Dan got sausage dipped.
Yeah.
Oh, he sure did. I know that feeling all too well.
So is he on a 2-game win? Oh, no. He got smoked by Alex in week 10. But
let's not give him too much credit.
Yeah, hold on. 2 of the last 3 we'll give him. That's doubling his win total in the year. So shout out to Brent for that. I don't want to pat myself too hard on the back, but I said this game was going to be the first one to 80, and final score was 95-75. So was I right, guys, or was I right? Jack, best thing you saw last week?
2 quick things. I was going to highlight the LeBron James, Chris Godwin poop bowl, and if Chris played any other team in the league, he would have lost. So it's sad to see that. Also, it must be a pride thing, but Demps maintains the league low of moves at 3 and is not wavering on giving up that number 1 waiver spot. He'll do whatever it takes to keep it, if it means not adding the hottest waiver guy.
I think
so if you have the second waiver spot, you might as well just say that you have the first.
Yeah, you're essentially in the first. Oh wow, I didn't even realize I've moved up to 3, so I might have to spend that tonight.
You won't get the guy you want.
I do need a quarterback. Yeah, no, those are 2 good ones. Jack, and not to hurt your feelings, but again, patting myself on the back. Best thing I saw last week was prediction of a electric slide win on the back of a big Jamison Crowder game. And what do they do? Big time players make big time plays in big time moments. Jamison Crowder came through with, I think, 15 points to lead Cole over Jack. So
I hate Cole.
I hate his incessant, terrible trash talk. It's the worst. He's like, I'm the best. But
I don't understand how he keeps winning. Like, I had fucking Christian McCaffrey last year. He didn't carry me to 7 wins essentially or whatever he's at.
That's all it is. It's all it is, and he's getting hot. He's getting on the Russell Wilson train at the right time, heating up at the second half of the season.
I hate looking at his picture too. The team electric slide picture.
Electric slide. Oh my god.
Someone
Give me a fucking break.
Someone get the defibrillator out there because it looks like his team's about to die. But other than that, yeah, I hate his team. I hate everything about his team. So He still has Deshaun Jackson on IR, so I guess he's pretty committed to the no moves movement.
Like, Dempsey has made a fucking move all year. I made at least 23, I think, and yet he still sits and pretty in 4th place, dude.
Hey, at least
half the time I don't even start anyone. That's how down I am this year. It's so embarrassing.
Dempsey got to 7 wins, and he said that should be enough to make the playoffs, and then just stopped.
This is like the shittiest NFC East, old school NFC East year of all time. First one to 8, 9, and 7 or whatever gets in the playoffs.
You're barely over 100. Yeah, or 500. Yep, you guys are in. So, yes. But let's get into the previews for Week 12 upcoming. We'll get some scores for everybody. We'll get the first one will be my game. It's Alex versus myself. 3 versus 12. Alex is right now fighting for a bye week, first week of the playoffs. Thankfully, he's getting matched up versus me, and I'm, again, battling to not run the beer mile. So, John, if you want, take us through this.
First off, just looking at the matchup, the fact that it's 65, the predictions, no quarterbacks involved, mind you.
No.
And he's missing Melvin Gordon. It's 64-56. This is no one scoring any points this year, or?
Look, my team is ravagely victory, but I won't use that as a crutch.
However, that does favor in Team Skinny Fat.
It does.
And I think Team Skinny Fat somehow, someway found the way to win against the mighty Far Six Picks last week. And I think he carries his team into this week. Playing a little spoiler to Scott's Tots, which we know we all love to see from all those past championships.
Oh.
So I'm going Skinny Fat, 85, 80.
Oh.
That's the final. Skinny Fat takes two weeks in a row.
That's what we call a winning streak on Team Skinny Fat. Jack, thoughts?
John is trying to make himself feel better about losing to Skinny Fat. I'm predicting a win here. Doesn't look like Juju will play. Jalen Samuels might get run with Connor out, but I think Scott's Tots puts in a quarterback and Devontae Adams. Just a hunch. And he might win 94.2 to 86.8.
Okay. Out of respect for Alex, I think I might just punt this week and not start a quarterback. I'll one Brendan Buchanan because he's currently favored. While we both don't have quarterbacks in, he also doesn't have a stud running back in, and no one on my team is currently projected over 9 points. Her current highest projection is Juju, who's very much leaning towards not playing this week, as Jack pointed out. But hey, I've got some optimism. It'll be a close one, 58-48 favor Alex. I'll actually take the next build game. It's Billy versus Dan which should be a pretty close one. Hold on. Right now, it's projected 89-72. But what? No. That's your game, John. Apologize. It's projected 80.31 to 80.59 in favor of Gruesome Twosome. Now, I don't know if... No. So, Saquon Barkley's still on Dan's bench, so these projections will change. And I believe Dan will be favored after he makes his moves and whatnot. So, I do like the Jared Allen. Not Jared Allen. Is it Jared?
You can tell this is like the dog days of the fantasy season. Nobody's plugging in their guys. It's Tuesday. Nobody cares that much.
As long as it gets in by Sunday morning, that's all that matters. No, but Dan's going with the roster heavy. I'm going to assume he's putting Saquon in, and he's going to leave Dave Montgomery, who should have a good game against the Giants. Saquon probably tears the Bears up because they can't really do anything else. And then he has a nice wide receiver matchup with Kenny Golladay against Washington. should have a good game, even though last week he decided not to show up. And then Terry McLaurin on the other side of the ball against Detroit, who, again, could go either way. Let's see if Haskins decides to show up. And then Gruesome Twosom's got Dak facing a tough New England defense this week, but he's got Godwin and Mark Ingram looking to shoulder the load. I think because of the desperation of trying to get into the playoffs, Gruesome Twosome pulls this one off, 101-80. Not really close. I don't think Dan's going to eclipse 80 very much more for the rest of the season, but that's my projection. John, what are your thoughts?
So I am pulling for the arch nemesis here, and Team Puffs and Duds. As I look down the league, there's still some opportunity for the Mighty Dick Picks to sneak in the backdoor of the playoffs.
The Dick Picks love the backdoor.
Yeah, I'm loving Aaron Rodgers against San Fran. He pops in him, Josh Allen. I know he's been playing good, but can't hit Aaron Rodgers. Dak's not going to have a good weekend this weekend.
No.
It's looking like maybe Baltimore comes down this weekend. Probably not. They're on fire. Either way, I still feel like Puffs and Suds has enough decent names to sneak one out and go along with my team for the weekend of everyone I need to play sports for me.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm going 96-88. Team PNS.
Okay. Jack, do you want to break this tie?
When I first looked at this, I thought this had Team Puff and Suds written all over it, even with adding Barkley and Rodgers in, but Gruesome Twosome is criminally underprojected here. Joe Mixon is projected 6 points, and John Brown has been a stud. He's only projected 7 points. I think this is going to be a closer game than the projections, and the Gruesome Twosome, who got off their losing streak, is going to get hot, and unfortunately for John, might take this win. I like Chris Godwin with a big week. It is going to be 98.6 to 94.2.
Well, good save on not saying 100. Jack, why don't you take us to the next matchup, actually? It's our very own John versus Buck, 9 versus 10. Playoffs on the line, and beer mile on the line. What are your thoughts here?
We kind of touched on it. I don't know if it was prior to the call or in the intro, but FDP gets a nice matchup here. I don't think he's going to get sausage dipped this week. Kalen Ballage is averaging 1.8 yards per carry. I saw a stat that Eli Manning, averaged 1.4 yards per carry in his career. Just to put that in perspective. Carlos Hyde has been quietly great. Schmidt's getting the girlfriend beater, Kareem Hunt, in the lineup.
Finally he gets back in the lineup.
There we go.
Well, they always say you draft someone who you share the same views with. So.
Hey, whatever it takes to win.
I'm going to turn the blind eye and give someone a second chance.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Here we go. Schmidt takes this one. Jarvis Landry has been very solid. Noah Fant's catching fire. DJ Shark looked great with Foles. Carson Wentz is going to have a big week against Seattle. Schmidt takes this one, 103.2 to Bucks, 84.8.
103.2 to 84.8. John, thoughts?
Agree wholeheartedly.
I'm just going to put John Wynn in on the score projection. Yeah, no, I've got to root against him. Not against you, excuse me, against Buck. I also need I'm talking it into existence. It's going to be a John Wynn this week. It's going to be a classic dick pic, short, ugly, right to the point. First one to 75 wins. John wins 76-69.
Win by
Buck
2.
win by 2. Buck gets the style points. But yeah, so
Love it.
we'll get into this next matchup. I'll take this one. It's Jack versus Chris, 2 versus 1. Kind of taking on. If you win this, you're pretty much guaranteeing your spot. One of your spots in the. Excuse me. If either team wins this, they're guaranteeing their home court advantage with getting the bye week in the first round of the playoffs here.
Huge.
So it is a very big game. Jack, who's been talking shit on everyone, not having players start. Dan Bailey, kicker, on bye. Points off. No, but otherwise it's a very close projection. Chris is projected 96. Jack's 97. Chris doesn't have his defense, but like I said, Jack doesn't have his kicker in yet. Tom Brady's going up against Dallas defense. Let's see how they turn out. And then you got Mike Evans going up against Atlanta, who should, even though they're away, should have a big game, be able to handle what they need to handle. Kamara is projected 17. Has he been doing a whole lot of anything recently? Not really. I think that's more of a name projection, even though they are playing Carolina, who just got smoked by, who the hell did they, was it, the Falcons just ran train on them. So maybe Kamara has a big day. Who am I to call? But otherwise, I'm not really in love with Chris's team this week. I think Lamar Jackson, Monday night, shows what he can do against the Rams. However, they are on the West Coast. That probably affects him a little bit. Nick Chubb against Miami is a great matchup. And you got George Kittle against Green Bay, which I really like as well. Thank God you put New England back in your starting lineup. Could have used them last week. I think Jack takes this one in a high-scoring matchup, 125 to 115. Jack, your thoughts?
I could take losing to Cole. Fine. So be it. But I cannot take losing to Chris.
Is it?
The worst GroupMe member in history, the worst trash talker. I cringe every time I see a GroupMe message pop up against him. I cannot lose this game. I take it 102.3 to 98.6.
Very close, very close. And John, what are your thoughts?
I agree again. I cannot believe fucking Goggin finds ways to win. CC last weekend, 69-48, a top 4 matchup, and they produce a shit score like that.
That's a Division II college basketball Tuesday night score if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah. that's like one of the fucking ABA scores. So, having said that, I'm taking Jack's team. I think there's going to be one key addition in Jack's lineup that I'm predicting, he hasn't told me, the signing of Young Hoku, the terrific Asian kicker for the Falcons. He brings him in, slides him in the lineup. I think that puts Jack over the edge. Maybe Young Hoku with a game-winning victory field goal for Jack. 105-94, favorite Jack's team.
Okay, I like it. So that's a clean sweep. We've picked Jack. John, why don't you take us through your next matchup? It's your 2 best friends in the league, actually. It's one Hoochie Coochies versus LeBron James, 8 versus 4. One's holding on to a playoff spot. One's fighting to get back in. What are your thoughts on this?
So, again, I hate to do this, but
I hate doing this.
But here we are again. And something tells me LeBron James is coming up big this weekend.
Oh, wow.
A lot of questionables in the lineup. That kind of scares me because I'm pretty sure Dempsey doesn't even check fantasy anymore.
He could be in the championship, I'm pretty sure. Oh, we're still doing that?
Exactly. He's still going to end up there at the end. Deshaun Watson's coming back big this weekend. So that means DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a big game as a result of that.
Oh, yeah.
I really have to talk myself into this one. Because Kevin Coleman is maybe going to go off Edelman. should have a big weekend against Dallas. Cooper Kupp seems to just never fucking go away.
Never.
So it's going to be a tough one. Maybe, I don't know. If these dudes don't play in Dempsey's lineup, then I'm going to go Hoochie Coochies, unfortunately, and then I'm going to have to live the fight another day next weekend.
Okay.
But I'm going 86-80 LeBron James.
Wow. I guess Brendan can turn the ship around, and he really fell from grace.
Yeah, I'm praying that he's still descending.
He spilled too early. He lost his. Brendan has. I mean, I'm looking at his team. I can't believe David Njoku's still on his bench on the IR spot after getting hurt in week 2. Pretty sure Brendan wouldn't keep him out of sheer principle of his name alone, but that's neither here nor there. I don't like either team a whole lot just because they're all projected more than my teams, but I do think Deshaun Watson has a get back game against Indianapolis this Thursday, so I'm going to take Hoochie Coochies in this one. I think it's going to be 98 to not quite 48, but let's call it 63. Dempsey's team decides to show up. Jack, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Devontae Freeman plays. I'm just looking real quick. Definitely possible. Doesn't sound good for Evan Ingram.
Does he have? At least he took Deion Lewis out of his lineup.
Yes.
So that's a positive.
This is so absurd. What the fuck is this record?
This guy is in 4th place.
He's 7-4 with 1,000 points per. That's still more than mine. Oh my god, I can't stand this. Fuck this. This is the worst year fantasy football, I swear to God.
Yeah.
The Hoochie Coochies take this with their 3 running backs, 106.8 to 83.4.
Okay. And Jack, the last matchup of the night, a real nail biter. Cole versus Joe, 5 versus 6. Playoff implications firmly on the line for both teams here. What are your thoughts?
Joe snuck back in. It looked like he was on the downward trend all season.
He really did.
He is back in that 6th spot. Cole's team is sad to look at. Like, he is riding D.D. Westbrook and Jamison Crowder to these stupid victories. It's absurd. I just don't get how Cole wins. He's got Jordan Howard who's banged up. Ertz hasn't done a thing all year.
I do want to mention, Jack, like you said, both these teams actually. Cole at one point was 2-5. He's now won 4 in a row to be 6-5. And Derrick Henry was 2-6, won 3 in a row, clawed his way back into the playoffs at 5-6. So
you love to see that, the perseverance between both teams. It's the battle of the Eagles.
You love to see it for Derrick Henry.
Oh man, I really don't want to take Cole because he just beat me and I'm bitter. But
does Jordan Howard play?
Jacoby Brissett. So I will take Cole's team 93.8 to 86.8. Sure.
Okay. John, thoughts?
Again, this pains me deeply more than anyone could ever know. But I think I got to go with Jack. I think Cole takes this one again, somehow, some way. Calvin Ridley exploded last weekend, so just by natural progression, he's going to calm down. Zeke, he's got a tough matchup with New England. They're going to be looking to shut him down. Christian McCaffrey, doesn't matter who he's playing, he's running on them. So maybe Fournette takes it for him, put him over the edge. And Russell Wilson's obviously liable to cut up the Eagles' defense. So it's always that. So I'm going fucking Team Electric Slide. in a surprisingly low scoring game. 130 to 115.
You really zagged there, John. I was waiting for the zig.
Just to let you know, Christian McCaffrey on his wide receiver stats alone is having a better year than Cole's wide receivers.
I don't doubt that at all. That's incredible. Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, the guy hasn't scored below 20 points. He scored below 20 points one time the entire year. Excuse me, 2 times. Week 7, his bye week. Week 2, it's incredible.
Yeah, seriously. It's unbelievable.
Yep. So he's going to run. That's the workhorse straight into the ground. However, I think New Orleans bottles him up this week. I don't think he produces like he normally does. Look, Allen probably throws 4 more interceptions. And Joe takes this one, getting back to 500, ends Cole's hot hand. It's going to be tight, though. It's going to be 101-98 favor of Joe. So those are our picks for the week. Last week was a bad showing on all of our parts. You were not on, Jack. I didn't update you. I went 3-3. My record is now 26-27-1. 0.491, just under 500. Dan went from 18-17-1, went 1-5 last week to now 19-22-1. He's at 0.464, and our guest last week was...
There was no guest last
week.
No
guest last week. So me and Dan did not have a good showing. John, you've been one of our more coveted guests. Glad we could finally get you on here. Get the time zones worked out before you jet set it across the world. But yeah, we're glad to have you. Do you have anything else to say to the league?
Hopefully they don't have Wi-Fi over there, so I don't have to check me losing yet again this weekend. But I'll be thinking about that back door that's going to be creaking wide, more open this weekend for the old Muddy Dick Picks to be sliding back in their rightful place. 60s in the playoff, baby.
I'll tell Muggs to leave it unlocked.
He should know fuck now what time I slide through stuff.
So you're the midnight visitor.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But so there you go. There's your dick pics for the week. Jack, you got anything?
Not after that. Just safe travels to John.
Safe travels indeed. Everybody have a good week, and we'll see you this time next week. Later.